finding your purpose and why it matters. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm with the IdeaPros marketing team. And today we're bringing back a show that I really, really love. I think it's just an important thing for us to remember. And we also are bringing back a special thing that's offered in the middle of it. So I will say that if you haven't caught the show, you're going to really be in for a treat. If you did catch it and you've been working towards finding your purpose, I'd love to know in the chat if you have figured out what your purpose is and really where you're going with your business. So let me know in the chat. I'm excited to see you all. This is a recording, but I am in the chat with you. So even though it's going to be a replay, I am here. So let me know in the chat, and we'll, without further ado, here's the show. And I have our special guest, Fred Cary, who's CEO of IdeaPros. Hey, Fred, how are you?
I am great. I'm trying to turn off my phone because you always make fun of me when it goes on. So how's everybody?
I think well, you guys let us know in the chat. If you're watching us live, hashtag live or hashtag replay when you're catching us and watching the review. And we are live on LinkedIn as well. So that's super exciting. You can comment in any of those places and we should see your messages. So I'd love to know you're here with us. But this is, I think this is one of Fred's favorite kind of keynote speaking points. So purpose, and this is so much a part of what you've built into IdeaPros and what you do in your own life. So tell us how we even find our purpose and why it matters.
Yeah. First of all, it's really hard to find your purpose. And first I'll talk about why it matters first, because that's the most important part. It matters because everything that we do in our lives, if we do it with some foundational element to it, we're going to do a better job. Because when we align what we really care about with what we're doing, we're going to try harder. We're not going to accept failure. It's going to permeate not only to us personally, but to our family, our wife, our husband, our kids, our dog, the community, the world, depending on what it is that we're doing. It translates, being purpose driven, and we'll talk about it, translates your personal essence to your business. And we're going to show you some statistics that are mind-blowing about companies that lead with purpose and how much better they do than companies that don't. And we'll get into that, but I want to focus first on finding it and how to take that purpose and make it part of your life at home and part of your life at business. Well, I love it when Tessa's muted, so I can just talk over her.
Oh, I was like, I'm in suspense. Fred's just holding this back from me right now. Yes, please, Fred.
Shall I get into it?
Yes, please do. And I just have to say before you are diving into this, that I used to think that this was just fluff. I thought, gosh, if we're business owners and we're driven, don't we already have purpose enough? Like, we want to make this happen, and that's just good enough. But Fred has since convinced me that this is much more important, and financially it's very beneficial too if you can find your purpose. So I just had to say that. If you're one of those that's skeptical, just hang in there, because Fred does a great job explaining this.
Well, the downside to it, though, it's a lot harder because you're making decisions. You're taking another element into every decision you make. That element is trying to always doing the right thing. Because if you're purpose driven, you want to make sure that you're true to that, you're authentic, and always doing the right thing is hard. And misstepping can be emotionally devastating because you're trying so hard, you're trying to be so authentic. And when you have people who don't appreciate what you're doing, how you're trying, how you're going overboard, then the consequence of somebody not being happy with what you're doing can be greater than a consequence with somebody who's just like in business and not really aligning that business to their core value system. So there are hard elements of it, but learning to manage those things, that's another thing we're going to talk about today. So let me start with, what is your purpose? How do you find it? And I think a great example happened 2 days ago. No, that was yesterday. I was on 2 podcasts yesterday, and the second podcast I was on was a real estate podcast. The first podcast I was on was some person, some woman who would buy companies, make them bigger, and then sell them. Kind of pretty woman with a woman at the helm. And so I was talking to her, and during the show, actually, I kind of did a seance for her, an emotional seance, and nothing was planned, but she was talking about how, her purpose is really around her kids and her community, and how she's trying to make the kids the best human beings they can be. But her business is just taking these companies and making them bigger, and she just does that for her business, and she doesn't align her purpose with her company. I told her she was wrong. We weren't live. She could have cut it out, but she's not going to, because I think it turned out to be the best part of the show. I started analyzing what she was doing, and I asked her a few questions, which is not what you're supposed to do when you're the guest and not the host. But I started asking her questions, and my first question was, when you go to buy a company, what are the characteristics of that company? And she said, well, the main thing is that it's broken, that things aren't functioning right, the employees aren't being appreciated, the revenues aren't growing, there's a lot of fat, fluff, leadership is not in a good position to take the company and make it healthy. That's the key element of what I look for. And then I asked her, what's the first thing you do when you make an acquisition? And she said, well, the first thing I do is I get all the employees together and let them know that it's going to be okay, that we're going to make a bigger, better company, that all their jobs are secure, and that we're going to grow together. And so I said, how does that not align with your purpose? You talked about your passion, your purpose, making your children better humans, giving them bigger opportunities, letting them grow through your nurturing leadership. That's exactly what you're doing with those companies. Otherwise, you would go to those employees and cut half of them right away, because you're just looking at the number. Instead, you want to build a better business, a better foundation, a better environment for all those people. So your purpose on making the world a better place, one business at a time, is completely aligned with what you think your personal purpose is. And she paused for a minute, and she said, you're exactly right. And she never even realized it. And so when you look at what your purpose is, you don't have to sit down in a dark room and like, what is my purpose? What am I passionate about? You're probably already living it in some sense. You have to just discover, why are you doing what you're doing? Does that align at all with some of your greater belief systems? And if it does, then coordinate those two now that you understand it, so that everything you do in that business or the business you're about to start is aligned with those fundamental things that make you wake up in the morning and be inspired. So if you can do that, you're going to treat your wife better. You're going to treat your husband better. You're not going to kick the dog. You're going to help your children grow. You're going to be kind to your neighbors. And that goes outward. The beauty of it is that same essence, that same core value system, that same authenticity is the only way you can build a great company that you're trying to build. Because a great company can't be built without a great leader. And you can't be a great leader in your business and then go home and do the dog kicking stuff, right? So it's all consistency in your personal life and in your business life. And then that whole work-life balance starts to meld together, and it just becomes your life. And you get to lead the best life you can because you're leading a life of purpose and authenticity.
I love it. And Fred's really quite the animal lover. So it's funny to hear him say he's going to, if he were going home and kicking the dog, because if you watched his official Fred Cary, Charlie is very much in love with Fred. Anyway, the puppy is
Charlie happens to be a dog, by the way.
Dog. Yes. No, don't do that. But I think that what I learned from leadership coaching, and they called it conflicting commitments. And so when you are trying to accomplish this piece and you have a conflicting commitment, you're always going to be torn. And so I think looking at this is so important, because you may not realize how much, like if you're saying, I want to spend more time with my family, but your business is keeping you away all hours of the night, that's a conflicting commitment, right? So sometimes things like that happen, but it's your bigger purpose can still be that you want better family life.
Well,
So
and if you're not only doing it right, but you've permeated that passion onto your family, they will be more forgiving. They'll know that you're trying to do something for the greater good that starts with them, and some of those battles won't exist anymore, or certainly they'll be handled in a way different way. You know.
well, I love what you said, communicating your purpose with your team. That's super critical. You might have this purpose, but if you're not explaining it and the team's not getting buy-in on that, or family or whoever's involved, then it's
Yeah.
going to make it harder for you to accomplish too.
Yeah. And by the way, doing that doesn't mean that your life's going to be better overnight. Uh, Doing that means your life's going to be better over time, and it could take a lot of time. You're not going to avoid all the struggles of entrepreneurship. In fact, you may have more because you're going to be making consideration that will never allow you to have the shortcuts. I've faced that. I have been facing that for over a year now with our company IdeaPros, and those of you who are members and partners of the company know full well things have been taking a lot longer than they should. You know, there've been inadequacies in our deliverables. There've been a 2.5 year pandemic that put hundreds of thousands of companies on their knees and out of business, and we kind of limped and struggled through that. If I wasn't purpose driven a year and a half ago, we could have just said, given all these external devastating things around the world, we just can't go any further. But that's not an option. When you're purpose driven, when you're passionate about something, you're going to do whatever it takes. And in spite of that, we're making it through. We have many, many different projects that are launching month after month, and there's still a backlog of things. But we would walk away, if you're not purpose driven, you could walk away from things like that, excuse me, instead of finding a way to make it work. And that whole purpose driven element makes it worthwhile at the end. We just got an app this morning that we are just starting in beta testing called Versus, and that's been a slippery road. We pivoted 4 different times. It's a music app. We pivoted 4 different times before we found what we thought would be the best thing for us to do. And that confusion, that vagueness, the kind of uncertainty and just back and forth of building something that's never been done before is very, very confusing, intimidating, and can hurt you, especially as a first-time entrepreneur, when you don't understand that entrepreneurship is kind of like watching sausage being made. You know, it's sweet at the end, but it doesn't look very pretty while it's happening. And these people stuck through it. They went through all the different obstacles and bumps in the road and U-turns that we had to go through, and they're tickled pink this morning because we've managed to create something that no other company's been able to do before, including one company that spent $20 million trying to do what we're doing. And we figured out how to do it. I can't say exactly what it is yet because they're not launching, but it's going to be awesome. And we have a real sweet spot audience from 16 to 24 that's just going to love this app, and it's going to go viral because it's a university type thing that one person starts using it, you have to invite your friends, and it is. I have very high hopes for it, but it's been a struggle and it's been hard. And they could have walked away if they weren't being passionate, and I would have walked away if I wasn't being passionate. So your passion doesn't prevent the fires; it'll get you through those fires.
Oh, I love it. And Sage, yes, passion driven. He wrote it before you said this. So great. So you were kind of forecasting it, Sage. Sean Reed over there. But I have some great stats that are going to give you hope, because Fred's talking about how hard it is. But let's look at what's so good about having purpose driven business.
Yeah. So when you take that personal alignment, right, your passion, your purpose, always trying to do the right thing, and you transport that into the business that you're going to start, the company you're going to start, your future, whatever that future is, there's physical, numerical, mathematical evidence to show that that's not a bad way to go. And so let's just,
Mhm.
we're going to go from the philosophy to the hard numbers.
And I'm going to
Uh,
put this link so that you guys can see all these stats too. But this is all the stats that defend the fact that purpose-driven businesses make more money and have more clients that are loyal. So the first one, and these are all on the side, I don't know if you guys can see that, 64% of global consumers find brands that actively communicate their purpose more attractive.
right.
I would never have thought that number.
Yeah, no, it's an insane number because think about it. If you can, we're lazy as human beings, right? We're all lazy. We all have these aspirations. We all want to do things for nature, for the environment, for our community, but it's hard and we're busy and we don't have that much time. So if you can make a purchase of water, and I have one water bottle company that is pretty damn good water, but I have another water bottle company that for every bottle you buy, they provide water in Africa, places where you have to walk 5 miles to find a well to get a bucket to bring it back home. And they're trying to create wells all over Africa. I'm going to buy that water all day long because I'm still getting the same benefit. I'm drinking a bottle of water, but I now have this purpose element that's translated into me. Now, when I'm buying this water, I know other things are happening and I can feel better about myself. This company's planting trees. This company's doing this. This company's doing that.
Yes.
So no wonder as a consumer, you align to those type of brands and you're more loyal to those type of brands, right? Making the world a better place. And that's what 65% of US adults think a company's primary purpose should be.
Mm. So
Incredible.
consumers seek brands with purpose and are more loyal to them, just like
Yeah,
it says here.
right.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you're more likely to have a positive image by 89%. How insane is that? They trust in them more by 86%, and they're loyal to that brand by 83%.
It's just insane
Just think of
numbers.
the money side. It's not they say fake it until you make it, but you don't want to do that. But you can see you have an immediate benefit. Wow, I'm doing what I was meant to do. And that translates to your community because they're seeing that you're doing what you're meant to do and they're statistically appreciating it in a way that is just off the charts. Gen Z,
Yeah, I
Gen
was
X,
just going to bring up that Gen Z, it's that they expect that we're going to have a positive impact on the environment, not just
yeah,
not not a negative, but we're going to make it better. So,
yeah. Almost half of Gen Z make their choices about the ethics involved in an organization, right?
it's
They're
crazy.
look 3 times more likely to say that the purpose of the business is to serve communities, serve society, simply than simply just making good products. Okay, it's a big number.
Right. Well, and number two, purpose-driven businesses outperform in the market. That's again, financially, this is a benefit for businesses.
Think about it. You guys have all heard this. It's better to keep a customer than to go get a new one,
Mhm.
right? It
Way
takes a
cheaper.
lot less money to be able to get a customer in, make them happy, let them continue buying from you. That takes a lot less than going out and attracting a new customer. So the more stickiness you have, the more you can turn your customers into passionate advocates of your brand, the better you're going to be as an organization. Even again on the finance side of it, for investors, the brands with purpose outperform the stock market by 120%.
It's crazy.
Give me, give me some of that.
Right.
And even big brands, if you look at, maybe you can say, oh, that's just luck and everything. If you look at big brands, Unilever has probably 1,000 different. They're like Procter and
Sub-brands.
Gamble, right?
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
have all these products that you have no idea that Unilever has anything to do.
Dove.
Uh,
There's a
yeah,
bunch.
Dove, that's one out of a
Mhm.
thousand.
I
But
know, I got one. Hey, I
but
actually
they're
knew that.
but sustainable living brands, which is a subsection of their brands, they grew 69% faster than the rest of their business. So here's an example of one company. Here's my purpose-driven part of it. Here's the regular part of my business. This part is growing almost 70% faster than the rest of my business. So you don't even have to say, oh, this company's lucky, this company's not, this company's selling this and that company's selling that. Go within a brand and you can see what they have within that brand shines when you're looking at the purpose-driven side of it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Well, I'm going to go down to the next. I want to try to get through all of these. So we have 5. People seek meaningful, engaging work, even if it means sacrificing income.
Yeah. So now we're looking internally, the employees that we bring to the table. What motivates people? Obviously, you want to get a good pay.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a point where you can be offered X by one company and offered less by another, and you're going to go with that other company because you feel more aligned with them, their commitment to their customers, to society, to their community, and that gives a high value. There's a high value proposition that especially nowadays, the workers coming out nowadays, they really place a high value element to it. The respondents that feel fully connected to the company's purpose are a lot more likely to take a job even at lower pay and stay there even when you have hard times going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way,
Perfect.
by the way, profits start with motivation. When you have motivated employees, they're going to work harder, they're going to try harder, they're not going to be lazy about the things that they need to do. You're not going to call it 501 and find everybody left. And so there is, as you can see statistically, all these benefits, consumers, your employees, all of them react positively to the purpose-driven life.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a long section on that one. But you guys have the link in the chat too, so you can go. I mean, start looking at this. This is all.
But 9 out of 10 employees are going to give extra if they're working for a purpose-driven company.
There
9
you
out
go.
of 10.
Well-being and loyalty. I'm going to go on to the next one because I know I want to finish up and just tell you guys one last thing. But business leaders recognize the need for purpose too. So obviously, if you're talking to someone who you're trying to get funding from a company and you have this purpose-driven backbone, if you will, that's going to make a big difference because companies are looking to invest in the futures, right? Not futures, the future, I should say.
Yeah. And aligning your business strategy with social goals is something now that there's the UN Global Compact, right? Almost 10,000 companies that's the whole part of their compact to be able to align with the social goals of an organization. You can see that 94% of CEOs feel a personal responsibility for laying out their company's core purpose and role in society. I would argue that they do a piss poor job of it because the part of aligning your purpose starts at the bottom. You can't just say, this is our purpose, this is our core value system. You need to engage the people, right? Because it's all about authenticity from the very beginning. And companies that take even things like corporate culture, if people are not going to just, these are the 4 things we stand for, welcome to your new job. That does not permeate culture. Culture starts when you engage every level of your employees, your outside contractors, even your customer base. Your core value system starts at the bottom because that's where the core is. And you need to make believers out of people by living what you say your purpose is, by engaging people who are maybe just started 6 months ago, finding out from them, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? How can we help you as a company? I know that you're either going to be here for life because you love this so much and you want to grow with us, or you have these other plans and aspirations, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever it is, how can we make that more of a reality? Now you really become a purpose-driven organization because your whole core value system based on authenticity is actually in practice rather than just fluff that you write on a chalkboard and send down the ranks.
Well, I have to say that this isn't easy for everyone to figure out these things, to figure out how to become purpose driven. But Fred does have a course, and I will put the link in. So if you guys want to find out how, and I think that's the cool part about this program is that it's broken up into modules, and you go into a lot of depth actually about this. In fact, one of our partners said that it was life-changing when he really went deep and took the time to go through this program. It was life-changing for him. So that might be the trick if you're looking to have that purpose-driven life. Do you want to say anything about that, Fred?
Well, does that IG 100 still work?
Actually, yes, they can use that when you guys click through. You would be, if you go over and click that you're going to buy it now, you can use IG 100. Doesn't have to be all caps, but it helps. IG 100.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it for free because this show is not about trying to do business. It's about trying to impart knowledge. But I warn you, 1 week from today, remove this.
Oh, the coupon code's going to go away. Okay.
Right?
All right. So I'll go make you a special code. I'll make a code right now so that you guys can go get it full 100% off, Lucky Dogs. You tell me what you want it to be, and I will make it right now.
Purpose.
Got it. PURPOSE coupon code. Give me like 2 minutes. I'll probably have it done before we let Fred go. But coupon code purpose.
Talking about that.
100% off.
The course on purpose-driven entrepreneurship. It's 15 modules. It's been out for a while. We have 2 other sets of courses coming after this one, but fundamentally, it shows you about starting your organization as a purpose-driven company from your first employee, you, and we're gonna give it's free. So if tomorrow morning I look and none of you have downloaded this, I'm not doing a show next Friday. It's free. Yeah, you'll still do it, but it's free. It can be life-changing, and some of you who are aggravated that your projects are taking so long, maybe that's the last thing you want to hear it, because the reality is, if I'm working with you, I'm going to keep working with you no matter how much money I'm spending, no matter how much time I'm spending, no matter how many dead ends we run into to get to the finish line. I'm going to keep doing it because I keep that purpose inside of me. Okay. And you guys learn to do the same thing so we can be great co-founders together, and we can weather any storm, we can go through any fire, and we'll get out the other end, however long it takes.
Oh, I love it. Well, I just created the coupon so you guys can go do it. So it's good until next Friday.
Paige wants to know where the download link is. You just put it up there, didn't you?
I did.
Fred.IdeaPros.
So you can go to the course right through there, and then you click that you want to, yes, give it to me. You will put your contact information in. That's how it's just set up. The next screen, you're going to put coupon code PURPOSE, PURPOSE, and that will give you 100% off for 1 week till next Friday. So do it now.
And then we're going to do 110% off.
Look, we pay you for it. Yeah. Wow. Please, well, this is super.
Download the damn thing.
Well, this is Fred's mission. And Fred, I know you explain this best because this is what you've instilled in us. You want to help a certain number of entrepreneurs. And can you just give everyone your purpose-driven kind of mission statement?
Yeah. And before I do that, I'll also say that, this is trial by fire. I have a very vocal subset of maybe 15, 20 people that we try to work with that think that Fred's a scam and doesn't do anything. We sit here in our highfalutin palaces and don't do any work. Fred hasn't paid himself in 2 years, and instead has put hundreds of thousands, if not more, into the company to try to get through all the macro things that we've suffered through. The war in the Ukraine, where we had a bunch of developers, the 2.5 year pandemic, where we lost a whole bunch of developers, and some of our Indian workers had to go work from home where you don't have high bandwidth. We're trial by fire, but when you do your purpose-driven stuff, you're going to see there's always the dissenters, the dissuaders that try to keep your eye away from where the ball really should be. And for me, my goal has been in this stage of my life to kind of change the view or the values of 10,000 people. And with 540,000 people now on Instagram, and 3 or 4 podcasts that I do every single week as a guest to tens of thousands of people. Hopefully I can get there. But if I can just change the lives of 10,000 people in the way they think to enough of a degree that they'll carry it down from the 10,000 down to 1,000, and then that generation down to 100, that's a billion people. And if I 90% short, that's still 100 million people. So you guys download the course, make that the first step of carrying that torch, and one day, hopefully, you'll think of that old bastard and smile.
It is fred.ideapros.com/course that you can go to, and I put the link in everywhere. I know LinkedIn people, I'm a little slow because it doesn't automatically go in there, but you go there, and purpose is the code. And I'm just going to show you real quick because some people don't see this part. So I'm just going to give this so you can see
forget
right
the IG
here.
100 part. The IG 100 is only $100 off.
Right. Yeah. Don't use that one. Use purpose. And where that code is right down in this corner here. So you're going to put the code there, and then it takes you through. So it goes and asks for the credit card. It does not store it, but let me just put it in here. PURPOSE. So you can, oh no, it takes it away. So there you go. $0. You can go do it, guys. And thank you, Fred. That's very sweet of you. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate having you all here every Friday. As you know, we're here on Fridays at noon Pacific time. I'll let you go, Fred, and I'll say just a couple words to everyone. See why we wanted to bring it back? It's just so good. So much information in there. And I hope that you got a lot from today. If you haven't already, hit the bell so you get notifications when we go live. And for all those people that I know are in the chat with us right now, our diehard Sean Reed with Sage Scheduler. We have Dr. Clarice. I know that you're probably here. Odds are you are, because you guys are my diehards that are always here. I am so glad that you are, and I will be chatting with you, of course, in the chat. But I just want to say thank you all for being here every week. I hope you have a blessed week. Thanks. Bye.